they just kind of act like clowns. This is what it comes down to. And so it's like what they want is an agent that will just, again, you deploy it, it will learn everything in my business, do everything for me for $20 a month because AI should be cheap. And because it's AI, I don't need anyone to do it for me. I just want you to like give me something really cheap and then I go do it myself because, why are you charging me for AI? Because the AI will figure it out for me. And it's just like, okay, well, if that existed, go ahead and go buy it and see how ineffective that is at what you want to do. And then you'll realize why people with brains build AI agents. Even though it's AI, you have to train it how to think. And that's what a lot of people I find are not that great at. They could be running a really great business. Doesn't mean that they're a stupid person, but it's like they're not great at putting together a solid line of reasoning, thought process, and then communicating that line of reasoning to anyone else. And that's where AI is not a mind reader, and it's not going to just figure it out for you on no context.
We never really come in with a structure, but today's guest is Jake George, who I met on, when did we meet on LinkedIn? A couple months ago?
I feel like it was longer than that. It's been, was it last year or this year? It was last year. Yeah, I know, dude. It certainly. Yeah, I can't even remember. I feel like it's so far back in my memory that I just like lump it together with like forever. So it's just like we've just known each other forever now. So, sometime last year, forever.
Maybe that's testament to how strong our friendship has developed through our mutual love of AI agents and AI tools. Maybe that's what's happened. It's bonded us.
For real. Dude, I gotta say. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely like one of the people, like aside from my own team, that I talk to about AI the most. I mean, we talk every week, even outside of that and stuff. So it's just like, definitely, I mean, yeah, always on the topic. We're both always keeping up to date with everything going on. So yeah, I guess it's like there's been a lot since our last podcast. I mean, tons I couldn't even remember, but since our, we do our like weekly sessions and stuff. Every week, we always come up with like the new smaller things. But I mean, since the last podcast, there's probably like a million improvements, a million things have gotten way better. And it's like super cool to look at like how fast AI evolves and just like how much different everything is now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like this is the case with us writing newsletters as well. As like every day something insane is happening. And we were kind of messaging beforehand and you said, I mean, good things to talk about is obviously kind of OpenAI's more agentic models, so O3 and O4 Mini, and then Anthropic's Think tool. So I think let's talk about OpenAI's kind of more agentic models, O3 and O4 Mini. What have you seen and what's your knowledge of them so far?
They are, with those, especially O3, was kind of like another light bulb moment for myself in AI, where it's like similar to going from GPT 3.5 to GPT 4. And you're just like, whoa. Because it's like GPT 3.5. I mean, yeah, when everyone starts using it, it's like light bulb goes on in your head and you're like, wow, like there could be a million uses for this. Like it knows so much and stuff. But then it had like like 2000 some context window. The memory wasn't very good. And it just wasn't really that smart. It was just like question, answer, like cool question, answer bot. But kind of the idea behind it of like, this will evolve. And like, there's so much that could be done with it. And then you get to GPT-4 and it's like, whoa, like this thing is actually smart. It's not just like a cool little question answer tool. Like this thing is actually smart. Like it could figure out things, help me figure out things that would normally require like another human level of thinking if prompted the right way. Then you got like 4.0, tool usage, web browsing, all that sort of thing. And I feel like after 4, it was like, yeah, like 4.0 was good. Then you got like, like 4.0 mini and like all this stuff. And like, they were like, a little bit better every time. I feel like we all watched the new model releases and it's like, now we have 4.1 nano. It's as smart as 4.0 mini and a little cheaper and quite faster. And it's like, cool. That doesn't really change the way I use AI. I'm going to go switch it out in all of my agents and stuff just because like if it's faster, cheaper, just as smart, then I might as well be using it. But then O3, like when O3 mini dropped, it was like, oh, wow, this is pretty good. And then O3 and O4 mini just dropped. And then using those, I'm at the level of like, wow, like this is actually, because the thing with the other like single shot models is like, they're nice for like asking little questions. They can help you research faster because they'll read things online, but it won't always give you this like complex chain of thought, like reasoning. They're not reasoning models. So then with these reasoning models where it's like they can sometimes in their testing, they would get it to call like between like 60 to 100 tools on average. I think OpenAI got it to call over 600 tools in a very complex problem that they gave it. So it's not just reasoning and thinking of what you said, thinking of what it knows, yada, 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 which is very useful. But it's like thinking and calling tools and just the outputs from that. Like it's getting to the point where I'm just like, whoa, like at this point, it's going to be like, I feel like this is almost like the beginning of the breaking point where it starts replacing humans. I just very, very impressed. Like you can really give it like a simple prompt of like, figure this thing out for me. I wanted to do this, this, and this. And it will sort of fill in all the gaps of like, what are the steps that I have to do? It's calling tools on the way. It's rethinking it as it goes. And sometimes like it'll sit there and think for like 3 to 5 minutes for like a decently complex query. And that's kind of was my point about why it's like, I mean, they made them agentic because it calls tools, it reasons, it reflects, it has memories, like it has all of the, like it's an agent now. And that's, what I've been saying since, like GPT-4. Of like, that's why agents are going to be so much better because it's not just like question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. And then if it doesn't know it, it still gives an answer. And so then it's like, it might be wrong. So in this way, and that's what I was saying the other week too, about like, if you had essentially a team of agents, which you don't really need a team for this one, but essentially if you can keep it going, if you can keep it thinking and it keeps providing new information, like this one critiques it, this one says, hey, here's what we're missing. This one researches it. This one passes it to this agent. This one rethinks it with the new information it's given. This one passes it to the review agent. And then this one says, oh, actually, we need more. And it just keeps looping until the review agent is like, yes, this is actually a good answer that the user is looking for. On their back end, maybe it does sort of work like a team like that. I mean, they kind of just say it says one model. And I think with their reasoning models, it can do that all at once. That's the thing is like, I mean, even a person, if I ask you a complex question and say answer on the spot, it's not that you're like dumb. It's just that you didn't have time to think about it and you didn't have like a notepad to like write anything down and go look for information and stuff. And that's really like what makes humans so effective is being able to leverage tools, know how to get information, know how to solve a problem. And that's what they're making these models able to do.
Super, super interesting and really, really engaging because I think the problem for me, at least, with a lot of these models in the past is that they would provide you with a response regardless of whether it was right? Is like their kind of focus was like provide a response at any cost, right? And like quite often you're getting them hallucinating or just providing something that's just wrong as well. And they just weren't very intelligent or smart. Whereas these new ones, for example, like if I want to get it to analyze a diagram or like analyze a blurry whiteboard picture, like it can do that. It can take the steps to really like take apart that information, reason with it, call some web search, call some kind of Python code execution, and then provide some analysis and actually understand what you're talking about. So the context is way better. Where does that leave you? So obviously you're running Agentic Brain just now. You're kind of using all these external tools for agentic functions. Does this kind of change your business model at all with these models getting more agentic themselves?
Kind of yes and no, because it's like a lot of what we're making, like, for example, and so I test this a lot because I see like, oh, there's deep research, there's this and that. And one of the tools that we built that I remember I shared with Kyle was our like deep research tool. So I tried that. And so what I found is that it actually won't effectively get data from, it isn't, and this is from brief testing, but if you ask it about a person's LinkedIn or something, it's just like, sorry, I don't know that, because it can't actually go and extract that information. Like LinkedIn will block it. And then also if you say like, then I've tried too to be like, okay, find this person's Facebook now and go and search that. And then it like will just search their name and return the first Facebook that comes up. So again, in that case, it's just like, it's not that it's not smart and not that it couldn't do that. Like I'm sure that there's a scenario where it's like, you could, say that the person has enough stuff on the internet, it searches their name. Like, let's say we take a notable person, Elon Musk or something like that. Even if it doesn't get his LinkedIn, it's going to be like, okay, I found him. I found articles about him. Here's all his websites, SpaceX, Tesla, blah, blah, blah. So for very notable people, it would work, but it can't really replace our tool because of how we have them. We're using similar models, but really the thing is, it's like we're actually providing it with the data and the context that it needs to do an effective job, which is their LinkedIn profiles and searching their Facebook profiles and looking for YouTube videos with them in there. And then it's like the way you set it up on the back end. It's like general agents and tools are good for general tasks. So to be honest, like, yes, I use GPT like on Perplexity and Claude and Gemini like 100 times a day. I'm using it to like advance my learning. Like, dude, in the past year or two, like I've been able to learn probably 10 times faster. And it's, that's one of the big things of like why I was able to do. I was actually just talking to my grandparents yesterday and like, how did you even get into, like, how did you know how to build AI agents? And I was like, well, I learned and I used AI to teach me. And then also, aside from that, I mean, it's not completely on me and magic. I have a really good team of really intelligent people, but they do the same. Not that that was completely all of their education, nor was it mine, but it's like you get to the point where it's like you can learn way faster. So the agents that OpenAI is making, they're very good for like general tasks and stuff like that. But what it comes down to is when you're actually integrating it and trying to like automate your business and have like digital employees, you don't want a generalist because it's like they're not built on your actual workflow, how you want to do things. It doesn't have access to like your emails, your calendar, your all sort of this. And it's like, I mean, to an extent, sure, you put them in like Gemini and have like a general Q&A of like, hey, what's going on? But they don't have like program like goals and tasks and stuff that they will do on autopilot for you. And what we found is just like, and another mistake that people make is they think, oh, it's just AI. So like if you just build me one agent, just one general agent and just deploy it, it's going to learn my entire business and start doing 50 different things. And it's just like, no, it doesn't. Like, that's not how it works. Like, it's not like, I haven't built AGI that I'm just going to give to you and let it run wild. Be like, let's see what happens. Maybe it starts running your company. It's just like, there's so much thinking that has to go into it to make it a model to effectively do a task. So it's like, if you want to do what GPT deep research does is like general deep online research. Extremely useful. I think everyone can benefit from that. Everyone can use that equally. And that's not exactly what we sell. So then we're looking for more like specific sales research where we want only data from specific data points. Like we don't just want you to like Google, like if you Google Jake George, it's not going to be super effective. But if you pull data from my LinkedIn, then you find, oh, here's my company, here's my website. Oh, here's some stuff that I did on YouTube, some podcasts with Liam. Here's this. So that's kind of where it still comes down to like, maybe in the future, if, let's say that they make their like GPTs better and you could actually like build legit agents with reasoning models. Yeah, maybe people would create that and kind of do that. But at this moment, we have like a lot of the agents that are out there like generalized. So they're good for data analysis. They're really good for coding. They're really good for like data extraction, summarizing, explaining files, writing emails, whatever. Like they have a lot of very general things, but and I don't see this in the near future, that it's like you will use ChatGPT as an employee, that you just like deploy and it just goes and does your stuff. Like there's so much explaining that you have to do on the back end, connecting data sources and explaining the reasoning. That's another thing is like with an agent, you never just deploy it and be like, you are an assistant for this company, do their work. Like it's never that easy. It's like there's so much that goes into like you still are having to tell the AI how to think. Like that's what the big misconception of that not everyone, there's two ways to use it. You can use AI to be smarter and more effective, or you can use it to be lazy and dumber. And a lot of people are excited about it because they want to use it to be lazy and dumber and cheaper and not actually like, they just kind of act like clowns. This is what it comes down to. And so it's like what they want is an agent that will just, again, you deploy it, it will learn everything in my business, do everything for me for $20 a month because AI should be cheap. And because it's AI, I don't need anyone to do it for me. I just want you to like give me something really cheap and then I go do it myself because, why are you charging me for AI? Because the AI will figure it out for me. And it's just like, okay, well, if that existed, go ahead and go buy it and see how ineffective that is at what you want to do. And then you'll realize why people with brains build AI agents. Even though it's AI, you have to train it how to think. And that's what a lot of people I find are not that great at. They could be running a really great business. Doesn't mean that they're a stupid person, but it's like they're not great at putting together a solid line of reasoning, thought process, and then communicating that line of reasoning to anyone else. And that's where AI is not a mind reader, and it's not going to just figure it out for you on no context.
It's probably a good line to draw that people who are good trainers of humans are going to be good trainers of AI as well, right? Because I think it kind of learns in the same way. It's like if I hire someone new, then I need to give them, if they're my social media manager, I need to give them context. Like, here's the logins for these certain platforms. Here's the verbiage that we use for this specific platform. Here's how we like to post. Here's the schedule that we like to post on. Here's our kind of goals and targets. Here's the color codes that we use. Like, it's just like training a human. And I think if you're good at training humans, you'll be good at training AI because it requires the same amount of context. I think the benefit of AI is that once AI knows what you're talking about, it's always going to remember it, right? It's never going to forget it. This is my standard practice when I post on Instagram. I follow these rules, boom, okay. Whereas sometimes you get humans that will forget that, right? But it's like you need to give it the same amount of information, if not more, and it will follow it very strictly. I think what you're saying as well about like kind of generalism as well when it comes to AI agents is, I think that's where people's biggest misconception is that, again, as you said, like people want to use it to be dumb and lazy. They want AI to come in and be like, I can't be bothered training it. Like, I'm so exhausted from running my business. Please just do all of my marketing or all of my operations, right? Which is, it's the same as hiring a VA. It's like you've got to spend 2 months putting so much time and effort into shaping that person. And you got to do the same with AI. You got to shape the AI to be able to learn your processes before it can become effective as well. So yeah, it's a huge misconception. I had a webinar with Tom Winter, for example, yesterday. Tom is an SEO expert, uses AI tools, right? The past 2 years, he's been building this tool called SEO Wind, and he was showing me all through it yesterday. The reason that his tool is so effective is because it allows you to add context, and it's because he's built specific agents for each kind of section in the SEO department, right? So it's like he's got an agent that's specifically specializing in finding keywords for you, and then an agent that's specifically built for building the right structure for your headings, and then an agent that's specific for your backlinks as well, right? So it's not a general agent. He's got 20 different agents only working for SEO. It's really, really specialist. And I think this is probably where we're going as well, I think. I think we're going to get a few companies for each kind of business department that really, really specialize in that specific area. So we might like look at AI marketing, for example. I think we'll have like 5 different companies. Right now we've got 500 tools that are doing AI marketing. I think we'll have like 5 different companies that just blow out the thing. The same for operations, the same for sales. We're certainly noticing like an era of consolidation when it comes to AI tools. Like in a newsletter, because people sponsor the newsletter, we highlight different tools that come out. And compared to what the market was like a year and a half ago to what it's like now, is like it's intensified because ChatGPT will come out, or the OpenAI team or Anthropic will come out with a new feature, and it's like, okay, there's 40 businesses just wiped off the face of the earth. So I think the more specialist you are, the more value you can provide. It gives you just a better ability to survive. Like, how do you think about that as well? Because obviously your specific focus, maybe kind of touch on this as well with Agentic Brain, is specifically AI and sales. Like, how do you think about your competitive edge and kind of building a moat against technology improvements as well?
Well, that really comes with like the sales consulting part of our business, which is just like an AI. I mean, AI can replace SDRs, but it's just like the level of like human intelligence that you need to like really close like actual high ticket deals. Because everyone loves to like spew garbage about, oh, the last BDR you ever need, it'll hop on an hour and a half phone call and close the deal. And it's just like, I promise you, if I hop on a call and it is a robot, I am not buying. Like, it just seems so fake. Like, oh, wow, I can understand why that's such a pain point for you. Can you elaborate more on how painful the point is? Like, shut up. Like, it's just like, it can do a lot of the back end, like admin tasks that allow you to then hop on more sales calls. This is another misconception. People think that AI is just oh, well, it must know a lot about sales, so it's just going to run my whole sales department and I'll just start making money. Really stupid thing to think, because it's like, this is just a business skill that most businesses need. Like pretty much every company we talk to needs a better sales system. And that part isn't necessarily done by AI. That's done by humans. A lot of times, Frank, who has had years and years and years and years and years, like over 20 years of this experience, and knows how to apply it in business.
Explain Frank and you and Adam and how you guys all work together to provide an effective solution that works.
Yeah. So really what it comes down to is like, we're an AI consultancy, and that's kind of how I see us. Not like, we won't get wiped out with a chat GPT update, because we're a consultancy for sales and AI. So OpenAI is not going to wipe out sales. And as it improves, there's a lot of people that are not like us, that don't know what's going on, don't know how to apply it, and are going to need it in their business and know how to use it effectively. They could have access to the same tools that we do, and they just don't use them or don't know how to use them. So being a consultant, like, I see that consulting is like, yes, there might get to a point where AI will just sort of like tell you how to use it yourself. That's possible. But also like having the understanding of business and where it would fit best. I think that there's a long way to go for that. So on my side, I run everything AI, like all of the research team, the dev team, actually communicating between the clients and doing the consulting with the clients of like, okay, I can understand your business, what's going on. I can understand your problems here, what should and should not be automated with AI. And then on Frank's side, so then he's on the sales consultant. So then he can kind of pick it apart and be like, okay, I'm going to like runs through their sales process. You can see where the inefficiencies are. And he's like, well, this is where you're screwing up. Like when an example, people come to us, I need AI to just get me infinite leads. I just wanted to blast spam out 1 million emails per day, and then I'll be a millionaire. And then Frank would be like,
I get them. Do you know what I get all the time in my email? It's, you've liked Ruben Hassid's post, or you've liked X's post on LinkedIn. I get them. I get like 4 every day, and it's like immediately to spam.
Block,
immediately to spam.
Yeah. That's what I always do, because I'm like, I hate the idea so much. Like cold outreach is, I'm not like saying it's bad and I hate it and I'm like mad at those people and whatever. If I get a good cold email, I actually will reply, and I have gotten some where someone like, it was probably AI, but you could tell that someone behind the scenes had set it up, because they had added context of like, they actually like live somewhere near me, and it was something that I was actually interested in at the moment, and it made sense for my company. So I hopped on a call with them and we discussed a partnership. So I'm not against a good cold email. The thing is, just when you let AI do it completely, like you just run it on autopilot, you're just spamming. Like that's most of cold email is spam. Most of it's not relevant. And it's just these like the Alex Hermosi, like grand slam, like we'll get you a gazillion clients in 4 days. Is it worth a call? And it's just like, no, it's not worth a call, because it's like, anyways, it's stupid. Spam. Send them all there. And a lot of times, and it's funny because then I see on the other end, the people that are asking for that, their business is crap. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to get clients. They don't know how to set up outbound. And it's like all these, like, I've never had, well, not never, but rarely do you see a real company that wants to set that up. And if they do, they don't just go, oh yeah, give it all to AI, just make AI do it. They're more like looking for consulting and advice. How would we set up this process? Which I've done a lot of consulting. They're like, we want to start an outbound motion. We have a lot of clients. We have a great offer. We're an actual successful business. We want someone to help us. Like, how would we do that? They don't just go, give me an agent to just do it, just sell it to me for cheap, and then I'll go run it. It's more like, we want your expertise on how we'd set this up. What tools should be used? There's a lot more that goes into it than just AI sending 1 million emails.
You're just touching on something really interesting there. Like, for me, I think the reason that this kind of like hybrid consultancy implementation model is so effective is that I think something that people get wrong about AI in general and AI businesses is that they think people are looking solely for information or solely for a solution. And I don't think that's the case. I think the thing about AI is that the majority of people are kind of terrified of like what this is going to do to both them as an employee, them as an individual, or their business, right? Like, is this going to replace me? Are we going to fall behind the competition as a result of this? And what people need more than anything is like not access to information, because you can find all the information that you want out there using fucking deep research, right? And it's not access to tools, because the majority of businesses have capital to go and buy the tools to do the thing. they need someone to hold their hand. They need someone to say, look, I know it's difficult, it's hard, it's going to be okay because we're going to help you with this thing. Like, the emotionality of it is paramount. It's more important than people realize, right? It's not about the access to information, and it's not about providing the right tool. It's about someone giving them, it's like literally giving them a hug, being like, it's okay, we're going to hold your hand through this, and we're going to get to where we need to get to. And they just need someone to reassure them. And that's why still having humans as part of this is going to be so important. And I think that's why the hybrid model of like sort of an agency, but not really an agency, but like individuals consulting as well as the implementation is just going to be a really effective business model for the next couple of years.
You nailed it there. There's the information's out there. We see a lot of people who it's like, they just want to endlessly, like, they're like book calls. I just want to talk about AI. And they think that if they hit some learning threshold, then they become an expert. And then they're going to be the, the one person $1 billion business. And it's just like, that's not how it is. It's really like, you can know everything. You can hop on a million calls, waste so many companies' time. And instead of just going on Google and YouTube and just actually learning the stuff. But it's like really like applying it and using it is what takes. It's just like anything. You could read a million books about karate. Are you good at karate? No. So kind of what we see in like larger companies, like a real legit company, they are not, the executives there are not going to be like, let's take an AI agent building course and try to learn it. Like, no real executive would do that. They have so many other, like, they would hire experts to do that for them because their position is so important that they're not about to go take like a course and think, now I'm just going to build agents. And I think that that's kind of like the misconception of, like you said, like people just, a lot of people like want to learn or they don't know what's out there and they do need like their hand held. But then some people are like, don't realize, like, they don't know what they don't know. So they think that they're just going to like watch one video or someone's going to drop a piece of knowledge on them in a sales call. And then it's just going to like light bulb in their head. And then they'll have the ability to then run that $1 billion AI business. And it's just like not the case. And those are the types of people typically that want I need the AI to go get me leads. Like they want to sort of like use it. They want to discover some big secret that everyone's hiding from them of how they're going to make this God agent that does everything. And then they think like, then I'll make that and then I'll be rich, whatever. That's the thing, is like, not that, like, let's say like the larger company with all these executives, not that they're too dumb to know about AI, and they should know in a general sense, AI, like what it does, how you would use it. And that's also what we do with like the consulting side of it, is just being like, hey, there's some issues here that could be solved by existing tools. Like, you're recording your sales calls. Oh, no, not really, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, let's implement something like Fireflies or Civil or like whatever. It's like, we don't have to build that, but it's just like knowing the right tool of just like, okay, which one is good? Well, we've tried all of them, so we prefer these two. And then let's take it a step further. Now let's link it to your CRM so that this is effective. And then from there, we could have like a sales call analysis agent. So it's like being able to apply it in a way that makes sense. So it's like, the same people, they could know about the tools. They could be like, I know about all these tools, and that's it. Like, just knowing doesn't actually solve your problem. You need someone to go in there and actually apply it and understand the business, how it works, and then what systems will be effective in there.
Sorry to jump in here, but you just kind of got me thinking. In terms of the clients you've had so far for Agentic Brain, who's been your kind of least favorite? Obviously, don't name names, right? And then who's been your kind of favorite client to have? And I'm curious about, like, by favorite, I mean, who's been like least receptive to advice and the worst at implementing what you're talking about, and what kind of maybe businesses or just like personalities in terms of the people you've been speaking to have seen the biggest benefit of working with you and had like the most effective solutions.
Yeah. So that comes down to fake companies and real companies. We talk about this all the time. There's these, and nothing wrong with small businesses. There are very good small businesses with people that are very clever. So that's not what I mean here. But like fake businesses, doesn't matter the size. They're usually small because the person running it is not that clever and doesn't make the right choices to make it big. Doesn't apply to all small businesses, but it's just like they are not very smart. They don't know what they're doing. They want AI to just do all the work for them. And they will struggle with the most basic things like making a business WhatsApp account. And it's like the stupidly simple thing. Like, I want a WhatsApp bot to help my clients. Okay, make a WhatsApp account. And they struggle with it for like 6 to 8 weeks, cannot figure it out. And it's just like, how do you make any money? Like, you can't be a real business. Like, the business that you presented to us cannot really be making much money, because like, if you can't figure out something so basic. So you get people like,
sorry, just to touch on that, the business you presented to us, do you often get people painting a picture of what their business looks like and it turns out to be false when you jump into the weeds?
yep, the fake businesses love to talk themselves up. It's a joke that we have. Everyone's always like Frank. They talk to him and, oh yeah, it's sales. I'm just like you. I did like door-to-door sales when I was in high school and stuff. And Frank's just like, yeah, wow, you're just like me. So we get all these people, half the people we talk to insist they're just like Frank. They totally would have thought of all this on their own and done it on their own, but like, good idea, as they're like writing it down, like, I'm going to go do this. So yeah, you get these people, they come in, they have this big elaborate story. They love to like flex on you and just, oh, my company did this. I worked with this person and we did all this. And then as you start working with them, you realize and get into like how their business works. You can kind of just tell, like, people just sort of like drop hints as you're talking to them. You're like, that doesn't add up. Real company wouldn't do that. And then like, why is the CEO asking us if we can show him how we built the agents after? Doesn't make sense. Real, it's like, and they love to waste time. They're not very serious. Like, they don't really make logical thoughts. They love to waste time and stay in this sort of like, feel like they're learning phase, feel like they're doing stuff phase. All waste of time. You get real companies, they're very straight to the point. And it's just like, they can make decisions quickly. They don't have to go think about like, okay, let's say the first consultation starts with this. And they're like, oh, I'll have to go think about it. Can we have like 3 more calls so you can give me more information? Like, that, it's just like all the stupid things that it's like, you can just tell it's like, you are not a real business person. Like, they're straight to the point. They know what they want. They know what their problems are. They are not going to waste time trying to DIY build an AI tool to fix it, because they're like, I don't know about AI. You guys are experts. I pay experts. That's how their business works, not from the CEO trying to DIY everything. So it always goes better, because it's just like, again, it's like, you've probably heard the term, or just like $500 client versus $5,000 client. The $500 client, oh, can you send me all these case studies? Can we hop on another call? Is there a refund guarantee? How much, how many more sales will I get from this AI? Blah, 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 blah. And then $5,000 client is just like, cool, send me the invoice. Because it's like, that's how business people think. They don't think like idiots, where it's like they do this whole stupid run around and ask a lot of dumb questions and ask questions that aren't even relevant. Like when people like, oh, how does the agent work? And it's like how I always say, like, do you want me to explain lines of Python to you? Like, it achieves your goal. Like, we went through it. You have this problem. It would, whatever, update your CRM, pull leads from here, da, 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 da. That's how it would work, that you would understand. Why would you ask how it would work on the back end? It's like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. So the best clients are people that are serious business people, because they actually have an inefficiency or need a process either made better through consulting or through AI. They can clearly define what that is. They're not just kind of like, well, I think maybe they know exactly what the process is. They can elaborate on it, explain it clearly, and they actually know that they're like, AI would solve this.
Is that personality, or is that like ability to receive information reflected in the employees that you then train, right? Because assumedly you kind of speak to that point of contact. They maybe have a sales team, they maybe have a marketing team. Do you often find that their personality is then reflected in their team as well, like that receptiveness?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't always directly translate, but just general, yes. Like, fake companies, their employees are usually like not qualified, don't really know what to do, won't follow instructions very well. Whereas someone who's a smart business owner will run a very tight team of other people who it's like, they'll make sure to get them up to speed and be like, hey, we're working with this consultancy. They're going to implement these things. They apply to the sales team. You're going to need to work with them. And then they'll also put like a project manager in charge. That's another telltale sign. Again, not bad if the CEO wants to manage the project himself. And sometimes that makes sense. So usually what we'll see, but what real companies tend to do is we'll have a Slack channel. and they will add their team and they will have assigned someone in there to sort of like manage the project and keep it moving. So the CEO will kind of like check in, read the messages. If we need to talk to them specifically, we'll ping them and they will reply back. But they don't do all the communication because that's kind of like a project manager or an assistant job. So they're in there, they'll kind of oversee, read through the messages, make sure that it's continually moving along. And then they put their staff in place and kind of tell them, this is the project that we're working on. They'll bring them on like the onboarding call so that we can brief them all. And then we'll specifically be like, okay, who's the point of contact? Who's managing this project? And like, do you want to be CC'd on all the emails? Do you not want us to bother you at all? Should we just go through your project manager who then reports to you? And they will, they will always know because they have a structure, because they have a business, and they'd be like, okay, this is the person to contact. And then also it's like, again, if they're a smart business person, they'll have a good team. And then all the people in there will have be able to access all the information that we need, keep things moving ahead, and report back to their CEO. So yes, you definitely do see that in the team of like a well-organized company.
Let's talk about Anthropic's Think tool quickly. And then I think we'll round off there after discussing that. So tell me everything about Anthropic's Think tool.
So it's kind of interesting. It kind of goes along with like, it came out like, it's about the same time as like the reasoning models where a lot of them were dropping. And essentially it's just a tool where think of it kind of like a notepad for Claude. And you can actually use it with other AI models as well, which is really cool, where it can kind of say like, it wouldn't make sense for just like simple prompts or like a prompt with like one tool call. But if it's a prompt where it's like, it has to call multiple tools, get the data from them, do a lot of reasoning, then decide what to do next. That's where it's very useful. So imagine it's like, it only has so much context window. So it pulls data from the CRM, email, LinkedIn, whatever, has all this data. It's going to decide what to do next. And it gives it essentially like a notepad where it can kind of like put down its thoughts and be like, okay, so I got this from here. This is this data. This is what I should do next. And so it gives it time to like stop and think about what it's going to do and then make a decision. And where it's a little bit different from using something like O4 Mini or O3 is that they're reasoning models, and it's like their reasoning will scale based on the query for sure, but we're pretty much always slower than something like 4.1 because they will do some sort of reasoning. With the tool, it's interesting because it's like Claude can choose when it has to reason. It doesn't just use the reasoning tool every time that it runs, but it's been something that's very helpful to agents because reasoning models are not always like available to be used in agentic systems. Like usually though, the models that would be used in agentic systems are like 4.0, 4.1, 4.1 mini. And it makes sense because it's like, I don't need to, because sometimes the queries are simple, sometimes they're complex. So I don't really want it all to run through O3 and be slower and cost way more for an agent. But what's cool is that if I do then, let's just say we're using 4.0. If I do run a more complex query where it's supposed to like it figures out through the prompt, I got to run 3 tools, I got to decide what to do after that. Then it's like, okay, this is a bit more complex. I just called 3 tools. Let me use the thinking tool and kind of like write my thoughts out, figure out what to do next, and then I'll take the action. So it's a nice way that agents can sort of like scale their thinking, is if that makes sense. Like it can decide, do I need to think a long time about this? Or is this like hey, what'd the last email from Liam say? Do. Like very simple. It doesn't need to think about that too much. So when you're giving it like these multi-step complex tasks to do, it's very useful for that. It's a great thing for agents to have because it removes the being stuck to single shotting everything, which has been before one of the limitations of agents.
What do you find the GPT models most useful for? And then what do you find the Claude models most useful for?
Claude is just better at coding. It just has been for a while. Mostly Adam, has tried Claude Code and OpenAI Codex. He just reverts back to Claude Code. Claude is just better at coding. I use OpenAI for most stuff because, again, I'm not like, when I'm using coding tools, I'm not making my own coding tools. I'm going to use Cursor. I'm going to use, we use Lovable. Like I'm going to use stuff that's out there because that stuff of like the back end of that, I'm sure is like immensely complex. Like you're not just going to build this crazy coding agent in an afternoon. Generally, OpenAI is just like good at an all around stuff. Like it's pretty smart. They always are coming out with new models. It's not always the cheapest, but it's just like, it just tends to be their models are usually the smartest for just like figuring things out. You could definitely say like Claude, like they're usually like neck and neck, but now we have the reasoning models. I just tend to stay with OpenAI because it's either like I switch between all of them, like, oh, I use Claude Sonnet for this, but then I'm going to use or 4.0 Mini for this one, blah, 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 blah. It's just like, even if GPT 4.1 and Claude 3.7 Sonnet are neck and neck, but OpenAI has more models than their reasoning models, I just tend to stick with it because it's like, then I just have one API key. I just pay for that account and whatever. I'll always test out what comes out on the other ones, but usually they're always so neck and neck that it's just easier to stay with OpenAI. There's so many models to choose from. Like, do I want a quick response? Is it a very simple task? Do I want it to reason? And I can still use that Claude thinking with OpenAI models as well. So I just stick with that. A lot of them are good. Gemini's good. Claude's good. Grok is good. Llama's good. You'll get, they're all very similar, neck and neck. It's just easier to just stick with one because it's like they get so much cheaper that it's like, I'm not really, I don't know, especially for clients, they care like mostly about the consistency. So I really want to use the smarter models. And, when I give it to them, they use their OpenAI account. So it's like, and they would always rather pay more for the token usage to have it be right and consistent more of the time rather than to be a touch faster or a touch cheaper. So that's really what matters to clients. So I just tend to stick with that. I'm not really, even if it's like, this one will cost 10 cents a million tokens, this one costs one. Yes, you are paying 10 times more, but when it comes down to it, it's always way cheaper than an employee. And I've never really had a client that cared about the cost for them. So that's my take.
If people want to learn more from you, they want to hear more from you, how do they get in touch?
So you can definitely contact me on LinkedIn. You can send me a message anytime for anyone that's like, if you're just inquiring about general AI, you just want to chat about it or just run a quick question, definitely messages are a lot faster than booking calls. If you're looking to actually have something built or implemented, you certainly book a call, but I can reply much faster about general AI questions just through chat. So LinkedIn's great. You can also email me as well. I'll reply very quickly to those as well. That's pretty much what I use.
Awesome. I'll leave all the details down below as well. Jake, thank you for your time.
Cool, man. It's great like always.